right in the Beads Incorporated studio. This is my passion and something that I've been doing for 16 years. We're going to make something fashion forward, and today we're talking about crimping. It's a technique that we use to create necklaces, bracelets, anklets, anything that's flexible and has a clasp to tie it off with. Materials that you'll need for this technique are nylon-coated stainless steel wire, like this 19-strand bead-along wire, a gray bead design board, 2x2mm sterling or gold fill crimp tubes, crimping pliers, wire cutters, or you could use flat nose pliers as an option, beads, and clasp of your choice. We're going to be making a long tassel necklace using our gray bead design board. I've started by lining our beads up on the gray bead design board between about 17 and 17, which is going to give us a 34-inch necklace. Using Amazonite stones and gold metallic wood, we have created our design and we will start to string. So we'll start by cutting our wire approximately 6 inches longer than our actual design. Place a piece of Scotch tape on the end so that you don't have to worry about the beads coming off the other side. You can also find handy clips to apply to the end of your wire that also serve the same purpose. Next, we'll begin by picking up our beads at one side of our necklace and begin stringing. There's no easy way around it. We'll have to string every bead one at a time until we get to the other side of our necklace. And when we get to the center, we'll string through the top of that tassel. Once we have all of our beads strung, I'm going to start by adding our first crimp tube onto the end of our wire, keeping it out here near the end of our wire, not letting it fall all the way down. Our next step, since we'll be using a lobster claw clasp, is to add one side of our clasp to our wire after that crimp tube. Next, take the end of our wire, fold it back through our crimp tube towards the beads. Pull it snug up against our lobster claw clasp. Next, we'll be using our blue crimping pliers. We want to use the very tip of our crimping pliers where they first come together and flatten that crimp tube completely. This is called flat crimping. And we'll move a few of our beads down to cover a portion of our wire tail there. Next, we'll move the rest of our beads down and just take that little piece of Scotch tape at the end and give it a good tug. Set that aside. And now we'll be using our next crimp tube. String that on the end. We can let that fall all the way down towards the end of our necklace. We're going to use the other side of our clasp, which in this case is a soldered jump ring. String this onto the end of our bead-along wire. String back through our crimp tube, and in this case we're going to kind of knock out two steps here at the same time. Go through our crimp bead, and at this point also go through one or two of our beads at the same time if we can. In some cases, if you're using seed beads or freshwater pearls, something with a smaller hole, you won't be able to, and it's not a big deal as long as you're crimping correctly. So at this point, we're going to hold on to our jump ring and hold on to our wire and pull them both until our necklace tightens up and there's no slack left. Using our blue crimping pliers, we'll use the very tip of our crimping pliers and flatten that completely. Once we've done that, we'll use our red wire cutters. Make sure that we get a nice close cut here and snip off our excess wire here, and make sure there's not any left on the other side too. So that's flat crimping, and that's what's going to hold our necklace together. It's the same technique that we use for a bracelet, the only difference being the length. So this is a long necklace for an adult. On me, that would be about there. For a bracelet, you would line your beads up between about 3.5 and 3.5 or 4 and 4 for an adult size bracelet. For a shorter necklace for an adult, you would line your beads up between about 8 and 8 on your bead board for a 16-inch necklace, and so on. So we just learned flat crimping. If we wanted to fold our crimps, and that's what our grooves are for on our crimping pliers, we could place our flattened crimp into our crimping pliers. You'll notice if you hold them together, the first groove is like an oval shape, and the one below that is like a half moon shape. We'll place our flattened crimp into the half moon shape first, give it a squeeze, and that creates a crease running down the back side of our crimp bead. Next, we'll grab that creased crimp by the sides, give that a squeeze, and that folds our crimp, making that appear half its size as well. So I always like people to know what those different grooves are for in our crimping pliers. Another alternative for crimping is to simply use a flat nose plier, and that achieves flat crimping as well. Thank you so much for joining me in the Beads Incorporated studio. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below, leave your comments in the feedback section below, and we'll see you next time.